When will India have a robust data privacy law that we can be proud for? And I want to tell my audience, just a little while ago, IRCTC, which is a company under his supervision, has withdrawn a tender for monetization of user data. Sir.
So the data protection bill, that's in works, and I think we should be seeing the results very soon. If you see the journey of this bill, when the Joint Parliamentary Committee suggested a series of amendments in a bill of 99 sections, there were 81 amendments suggested. Then there were about 17 major recommendations on top of it. So we had no choice but to redraft it. Redrafting is practically done, and Honorable Prime Minister has said that even though there is a very long series of consultations which have gone, still we must thoroughly consult with the people, with all the stakeholders. So very soon we will be uploading the revised draft, which will be meeting your expectations and meeting that from entire country. There is an expectation that the bill should be very neatly drafted, it should be easy to understand, it should be relevant with the times, it should create that online environment where trust and safety of the users gets the primacy.
If trust and safety of users has to have primacy, what about all the data that has been lost so far? And we keep hearing about incidents. What would you say are the touchstones that this proposed law will have?
So, three fundamental things. First and foremost is the users have a right on their data, right? So how that data is used, what is the consent mechanism which is there, that's the first and foremost. Second is the established principles of, let's say, purpose limitation, the other things which have got so well established all across the globe, those should be very much ingrained within the bill. And third most important thing is, how do we make sure that every person in this country, every citizen of this country is able to access the grievance redressal mechanism in a very simple and very highly accessible way. So the entire implementation should be born digital. It should be born digital. We are not only looking at the revamping the data sector, we are also looking at revamping the other sectors which basically support the data economy.
A 5G Bharat, it is reality. You have yourself announced October. How will India benefit from 5G 5-10 years down the line? Not immediately, because it's going to be a creamy layer proposition, perhaps in the initial few days, although Mr. Mittal will try and Mr. Ambani will try and do their best to make it a mass proposition. How will the average Indian benefit?
First of all, it will be a mass proposition. Not only the two private sector telecom service providers, but BSNL will also roll out its 5G in the coming 18 to 24 months, for sure, right? That's first. Second is, the big difference that 5G will bring, it will be in two sectors, education and health. The entire education sector, which today considers digital as somewhat connected and somewhat like, okay, this is the central piece is education, now there is something digital I can build around it, right? That will reverse. Digital will be the core and the education sector will be built around it. Same thing will happen in the healthcare sector. These two sectors are going to make a very big difference in the lives of 130 crore Indians, and especially the people who are at the bottom of the pyramid, who are at the most remotest parts, at the margins of the society, the people who are from our political thought process point of view, who are the most important people for whom we exist.
Many of the telecom pioneers, the private sector pioneers in India started off with manufacturing. Bharti with phones, Mr. Mittal also did gensets, others did phones and a lot of equipment. Ericsson still does a lot of equipment out of India. What's the goal for Atmanirbharta in telecom? Obviously the security reasons are understood by everyone, the China factor. What is your own sense about how Atmanirbhar will India be when it comes to electronics, IT and telecom sector?
Very, very important question. I'm glad that you asked it. 2014. If you look at that period, we had hardly any electronics manufacturing. Forget telecom equipment, forget cell phones. It was not even thinkable. People were not even considering that India will ever become a player. What is the electronics manufacturing today? Close to 80 billion US. Close to 80 billion US. What is the number of people employed in the electronics manufacturing sector? Close to 2.5 million people employed in electronics manufacturing. What is the rate of growth of this industry, electronics manufacturing in India? Double-digit CAGR, and we think that in next 4 years, 5 years, this will become a 250 billion. Industry thinks that this might actually exceed 300 billion. It might actually exceed 1 crore employment in the coming 4 to 5 years. That is the growth story, and we should not just stop at that. We are now tweaking our policies to have more and more IP getting into those products. Not just manufacturing, but design also. We lost out the race in 2G and 3G because of various reasons, and mostly the political will was not there. 4G we caught up, 5G we should be able to stand up with the world, but 6G Prime Minister has given us the clear mandate, we should become the leaders in the world.